परमात्मने नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। Dear Divine Selves, today we are going to explore as to what is the secret of becoming Brahman, as to how to become Brahman, as to how to become Paramatman, how to become what you are always, the supreme reality, the ultimate truth is Brahman alone. But how to become that Brahman? Answer is very simple, and the entire Vedanta philosophy is an exposition of this answer alone. Brahma satyam jagan mithya jivo brahmaiva na parah. The great Jagat Guru Adi Shankara, whose birthday we celebrated yesterday, he has explained and put forth the entire truth of entire metaphysics ever available anywhere in the world in half a sentence, as Jagat Guru Adi Shankara says, Shlokardhena pravakshami yad vaktum granthakotibhi Brahma satyam jagan mithya jivo brahmaiva na parah jivo brahmaiva na parah. Jagat Guru Adi Shankara says, most radical and revolutionary declaration of Shankara. Listen, I would tell you that truth that is sought to be explained by millions and billions of sacred scriptures from time immemorial. That truth I would reveal to you in just half a sentence, and that half of the sentence is Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva na Parah. The Brahman alone is truth. This physical phenomenal universe is an illusion, is false. this Jiva and Jagat, the individual self and the physical phenomenal universe, are nothing but verily Brahman. Brahman alone is this Jiva and this entire Jagat too. The one non-dual eternal truth, that is Brahman, the Paramatman alone, is manifesting and appearing and radiating as millions and billions of individual selves, individual jivas, objects, beings in this physical phenomenal universe. That is the supreme reality. All the Upanishads, all the Vedantic treatises, whether Yoga Vasisht, Ashtavakra Gita, or Bhagavad Gita, or Ribhu Gita, or Avadhut Gita, all the Vedantic treatises are an explanation and exposition on this alone. And the current scripture we are taking help of and doing our sadhana, that is Ribhu Gita, which is part of Shiva Rahasyam, is the height of this exposition of this one non-dual indivisible truth that is known in the Upanishads as Brahman, Sacchidananda. The entire Ribhu Gita and all the other treatises on Advaita Vedanta are nothing but an exposition of this half a sentence in which the entire eternal, immortal, universal truth is sought to be presented. So let's try to explore as to how to know for ourselves through empirical, intuitive, immediate and intimate reality that which we are always and that which everything else is always, that Brahman Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. This entire universe is verily Brahman. Jiva too is Shiva alone. Therefore, when in chapter 18 of Ribhu Gita, when says Ribhu is going to reveal the secret of becoming Brahman, what he is going to reveal is that same secret. What is the secret? The secret of becoming Brahman lies in knowing the Brahman, knowing the true nature of the ultimate reality called Brahman or Paramatman, the Supreme Self. Because Upanishads declare Brahmavid Brahmai Bhavati. The knower of the Brahman verily becomes Brahman, because the knowledge of Brahman alone is the state of Brahmanhood, Atmanhood. Because that Brahman is nothing but an embodiment of knowledge. Knowledge pure, knowledge eternal and immutable, knowledge of the reality, knowledge of the self. Therefore, dissolution of the illusion and delusion created by mental projections, that dissolution reveals by itself the grandeur of your own nature, the eternal, immortal Shiva, the infinite Brahman, the immutable, eternal Paramatman that you are always, but due to ignorance about your true nature and the ignorance about the true nature of the entire phenomenal universe, you are enchained artificially. You have enchained yourself. You are in bondage. You are suffering. You are always under the constant fear of disease, death, misery, sorrow, suffering, because of your wrong conviction, wrong belief that you are this body. The mortal, perishable body is your identity, is yourself, and this entire universe as it appears is the only reality. That is the root cause of the ignorance. Not knowing the true nature of this physical phenomenal universe and not knowing this entity called the body, the essence of the body, we are in the grip of endless sorrows, sufferings, fears, anxieties, stress, jealousy, hatred, all are because of our ignorance of our true nature. How to know that what we are always? Let's take the help of one of the most fundamental instruments and tools of decoding and deciphering the supreme reality, that's Rajju Sarpanyaya, the rope snake logic. In darkness, sometimes if you see something like a rope, or your feet touches something like a rope, and in the darkness if you are unable to see that object as it is, it might, and it does in most of the cases, create an illusion of being a snake, being falsely understood as snake, which in essence is nothing but a rope, creates all the misery, sorrow, fear. Oh, this is a snake. You run away. You are in the grip of fear. You begin to tremble. Because of what? Because of your wrong understanding, your illusion about the true nature of the rope as snake creates all sorrows and sufferings. And that illusion, that ignorance can be removed by that removal of that ignorance alone is the root of cessation of all the fears, sorrow and suffering you are undergoing because of the wrong understanding. Therefore, the true knowledge of that rope as rope in the light, the knowledge, when it dawns upon you, when you see through your naked eyes, oh, in the light, in the illumination, oh, some torch somebody is bringing, some lamp somebody is bringing, and then you see, oh, I was so stupid. I mistook this rope as snake and I was trembling with fear. In the same way, even so, this entire universe and this body too, and all the mass sum total of the bodies in the infinite universe are nothing in essence. Their reality is none other than the Brahman, one indivisible Sacchidananda alone is the source, substance and substratum of this entire phenomenal universe. And this body of the physical phenomenal universe is a misconception, a misunderstanding, an illusory appearance. As in the case of a mirror, if you stand before the mirror, you see your full frame, this body appearing as exactly you are. You get an illusion that, oh, I am there. There is a somebody else exactly like me. In reality, your image that appearing in the mirror doesn't exist even for a moment, but it gives an illusory sense of existing there in life. It's so real, it appears so real, so live. But the source, substance, and substratum of that misconception too is nothing but the mirror, the capacity or the nature of the mirror to reflect the images. Even so, the mirror of pure consciousness, Chidatman, in the infinite, one, indivisible, non-dual, pure consciousness, that is Atman, that is Brahman, that is Paramatman, in that cosmic mirror, the eternal mirror of the self, through the illusory instrument of mind, the entire world of duality and diversity and multiplicity is appearing as separate, different, atomized, individualized entities. The truth is that there is none other than the one indivisible eternal Brahman. Even in the case of an infinite ocean, if you go and stand on the sea beaches, you see a chain of waves, millions and billions and trillions of waves, foam, bubbles appear, exist for a few moments, dissolve back, disappear. Whenever there is a wave or a bubble or foam, in reality there is no foam, there is no bubble, there is no wave other than the water of the ocean. The water alone has, through the force of wind, appeared for a moment or few seconds or few minutes, appears as wave, foam or bubble. It has arisen from water, it exists in water, it dissolves back in the water. Even so, you are never ever anything other than the Brahman. You have arisen from the Brahman, Brahman of the nature of pure consciousness. You have arisen out of pure consciousness. You are existing in pure consciousness and you dissolve back in pure consciousness. The entire phenomenal physical universe arises out of pure consciousness, exists ever in nothing but pure consciousness and dissolves back into pure consciousness. The world arises, the world exists and the world dissolves, but the pure consciousness, the Brahman, the Paramatman, the supreme reality never arises, never exists or dissolves in that sense. It's an eternal, immutable existence. Even the concept of the creation of this world in Hindu mythological scriptures, you read, it's not a real creation. It's a start of the cycle of a particular era. Even the birth and death of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh is imagined, or it does happen, but it all happens in, upon and through the Brahman, the pure consciousness. The Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh take birth, exist and dissolve at the end of Kalpa, but not you, not the Brahman. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh is a mere name. The name is false. The source, substance and substratum of the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh and all the gods or even the demons for that matter is one reality, that is Sacchidananda, absolute existence, pure consciousness and infinite bliss that undergoes no change. That is why that reality is called immutable. The definition in Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, of the reality or truth is that which is immutable and eternal. These two conditions. Anything which verifies and which on the scrutiny of these two tests, that object or thing is eternal and immutable. There is no change in that. That alone is the truth. That alone is the Brahman. That alone is the Atman. And what is beyond ephemeral changes and momentary birth and death, that only one reality, only one power, the power of pure consciousness, the light of pure consciousness, the vast spacious awareness was never born, it will never die. It never undergoes any modification, any mutation. That is why it's immutable, even though it appears in, upon, and through this, the entire phenomenal universe as arising, existing, and dissolving. There is a lot of change, there is a lot of mutation, there is a lot of momentariness and ephemerality to that. But Brahman in himself has capital, never arises, never exists, never dissolves in that sense. The Brahman is eternal existence, consciousness pure, intelligence pure, vast spacious awareness alone, which is intrinsically blissful. Therefore, knowing that the entire universe is nothing but Brahman, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, and me too, as appearing in this body, individual, atomized, mortal, ephemeral, finite, limited body, susceptible and vulnerable to a lot of sorrow, suffering, infection, diseases. Even this body has no reality, no existence of its own. It's an imagination, it's an appearance in, upon, and through that pure consciousness, the infinite reality, that is Brahman. That is my reality, that my true identity. And as and when it dawns upon you through SRAVAN, MANAN, Nidhidhyasana, and NIRVIKALP SAMADHI, these four stages of Vedantic sadhana, when that Supreme Brahman reveals itself as Sacchidananda, the eternal truth of the nature of pure consciousness and blissfulness, that Shiva is revealed in your personal, intuitive, intimate, immediate, personal, direct experience. Once you take your mind from the unending obsession of the names and forms of the external world to the nameless, formless, attributeless knower and seer within. This is the secret. One line, just entire Vedanta philosophy is exposition of that. Take your attention from the external world, from the objects, incidents, phenomena of the physical phenomenon universe to the seer of that phenomena. Take your attention from the physical body and the physical universe to the knower of the body, to the knower of the senses and mind, to the knower of the universe that is ever seated in the caves of your heart. In the cave of your heart means in the intellect. The inner equipment alone is referred to as the cave of the heart. cave because it's invisible. You can't see it. Because who will see that? The very power of seeing and knowing is Brahman alone. Therefore, Brahman alone can see the Brahman. Brahman alone can know the Brahman. The Atman alone is capable of seeing, knowing and becoming Atman. You are always Atman. Just you have to get free from that illusion that you are not Atman, you are ephemeral, mortal conglomeration of flesh, body and bones. You are never ever anything other than the Brahman, but this illusion and your conviction and false belief that I am this body is the root cause of this sorrow, suffering, and not knowing and this misconception that I am Jiva. Now you know for sure that I am not this body and nor is this physical phenomenal universe any reality. I am the knower of all. I am the seer of all. That is Atman, the Brahman. See yourself, not the universe. Stop seeing in a very profound sense. Every moment of your life is ever obsessed with seeing, perceiving, enjoying, or being preoccupied with the universe of names, forms, and attributes. Now stop that, take a U-turn, and go at the root of, at the center of that existence, the root and center of all forms, all names, all objects of the particular attributes, beyond Trigunas, Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, that transcendent reality you are, that transcendent self, the Atman is ever present within you. By turning the direction of your attention, there is nothing else that has to be done. Immediate self-realization will happen. Just change the direction of your focus, your attention, your mental attention, the attention of your senses, led by the mind and intellect. From the external to the internal. This is the secret of becoming Brahman, becoming Paramatman. The moment you understand this and take a firm resolve as taught by the self-realized master, the Sadguru, and once you take a U-turn from your eternal obsession with the names and forms of the external world to the nameless, formless, attributeless, ever-present reality, Sacchidananda, the Atman, the Brahman, and abide in that, then and there, this moment, immediately, the same mind which was source of all delusion, sorrow and suffering, which mind was going outward and in the external world, the same mind, when you change the direction of the mind, most revolutionary radical sutra, try to understand it. This simple understanding will revolutionize your life. The same mind, the faculty of mind and intellect, which is source of all bondage, sorrow, suffering, ignorance, disease and death, because of its journey towards the outside world, the external direction of your mind. Now take a change the direction of your mind, change the direction of your thoughts, because mind is nothing but compulsive chain of thoughts. So change the direction of the mind. In other words, when the external world and objects of the external world are content of the mind and thoughts, you are bound, you are ignorant, you are deluded, you suffer. But the moment you change the direction of the mind from external to the internal, external, there the content of your mind becomes the nameless, formless, attributeless. In the external journey, the content of mind is and must be by definition nothing other than the world of names, forms and attributes. But when you change the direction of the mind from external to internal, there is no name, there is no form. The name by nature must be that of a form, and form alone has any attributes. The nameless, formless has no attribute. There, the same mind which had become an instrument of bondage, sorrow, suffering, illusion, ignorance, becomes an instrument of liberation, immediate liberation. That same mind becomes an aid, a tool of realizing the Brahmanhood, realizing the Atmanhood. By disappearing itself, the mind exists only when it is directed towards the external world. The moment you direct in the internal world, internal reality, and when the content of mind's attention is the nameless, formless, the light of pure consciousness, the attributeless light of pure intelligence, then the mind becomes no mind, and that no mind is the state of the self, the Brahman, the Paramatman. Abide in that state of no mind, because mind always travels, lives, survives and thrives upon the names and forms. Through the crutches of the five senses alone, the mind cannot exist for a moment. Without the crutches of the five senses, when you direct your journey from external to the internal, all the crutches upon which the mind was traveling and creating so much of endless world of sorrow, the mind becomes no mind. There are no crutches upon which the mind and compulsive chain of thoughts can appear, and there the mind, the instrument of bondage, becomes the instrument of liberation. The mind becomes no mind, and the same mind is dissolved as its source, its essence, that is pure consciousness, the Atman. The source of the mind was nothing and is nothing. The Brahman, the Paramatman, the Atman alone, through the power of modification, mental modification, the self alone was appearing as the mind, the illusory mind. Therefore, by taking a journey inward, you dissolve the mind, the very root and branch of illusion, illusory world, and ignorance and sorrow and suffering. And that dissolution is essentially instantly revelation of the eternal, immutable Brahmanhood, because you are never ever anything else but the Brahman alone, the eternal Atman, Paramatman alone. It is only because of your eternal obsession, endless obsession in the external world, you were unable to see yourself. The entire, suppose for example, take a rational example, there is an infinite reservoir, an infinite ocean. Go in Kanyakumari, stand at that point, the sea beach near Vivekananda Rock, the meeting point of Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean, and you stand your face and eyes towards the small town there. Would you be able to enjoy the beauty, see the infinite beauty you see there in Kanyakumari? Even so, the infinite treasure trove of the Brahman, the eternal, immutable, inexhaustible perennial infinite ocean of love, bliss and beauty, that Brahman is ever present. The only problem is that you are looking in the wrong direction, you are existing in the wrong direction, your every mental, verbal and physical activity is directed in the wrong direction. That is the world of names, forms and attributes. The moment you dissolve that by changing the direction of your life, there is nothing else that you need to do. Forget all spirituality, for all sacred literature. This is the end objective of all the spiritual sadhana. If you manage to change the direction of your mind and senses from external to the internal, nothing else is there. Instantly, immediately you get liberated from this illusory world of names, forms and attributes, and there you are face to face, intuitive revelation of your true nature, immediate, intimate, direct, personal revelation of your true nature as infinite light of pure consciousness. The Brahman, the Sacchidananda, the Paramatman hood of yours is revealed. It stands revealed forever, and then you begin to enjoy the bliss of your own nature due to ignorance of your own true nature. You were suffering, you were always feeling deprived, lacking something, in search of some lover, some beloved, some object of beauty, some object of sensual enjoyment, some pleasure. Because you need joy, happiness, because in essence and ultimate reality you are nothing but infinite mass of bliss. The Atman, the Brahman is the infinite, eternal, immutable mass of bliss. This pure consciousness, intrinsically, inherently, by nature, is always a fulsome, wholesome, infinite mass of bliss, unconditioned love, unending beauty that is at the root of your existence, that is ever present. Therefore, this is the secret of becoming Brahman, by knowing the Brahman through changing the direction of your mind, thoughts and senses in the external world to the internal center of entire experience or empirical life you live just now, right now and ever. That Atman is seated there. That Brahman alone exists, nothing exists. Every experience of your waking state, dreamy state, or even sound sleep state, or the fourth state, the Turiya, the state of the transcendent revelation, they are all the different states of one simple, eternal, immutable reality, that is Brahman, the Sacchidananda. That Sacchidananda you are, that Brahman you are, just by changing the direction. I am repeating because this is secret. This is the secret of immediate self-realization, Brahmanhood. Realization of the self means becoming the self. Realization and knowing of the Brahman means you become Brahman. You are never anything else. There is Brahman and Brahman alone. There is nothing else. Brahmaivahamasmi. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Jivo Brahmaiva Paraha. Once you know your true nature, then there is nothing to be afraid of, there is nothing to fear from, there is nothing to be jealous about, there is nothing to hunt around or run after or hanker after, because you are all of all in all by all yourself. You, the Paramatman, the Brahman, the Sacchidananda alone are the eternal truth. Know that truth. By knowing that truth, you become that truth. By knowing that Brahman, you become that Brahman and you abide in the Brahman. You rejoice in your own glory. You are glory of all glories. You realize all the love, bliss and beauty, glamour and glory you have been seeking in the external world was a false change. The need was real, the desire was real. The effort and endeavor to find it was in the wrong direction. Your desires are always right. Your desire for love, bliss and beauty, glory and glamour and respect is always real. But the only problem is you are seeking in the wrong direction. Change the direction of that effort. Every second, every moment you are doing nothing but you are running after love, bliss and beauty. Continue with that. Just change the direction, because in the external world you will never find, because the entire phenomenal physical universe of the world of duality is a mirage, is a shadow, is an appearance. It's an image, it's a painting. The real one is here, the real lover and the real beloved is right within you. The Parampramaspada of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, that is Brahman. The Brahman alone is your supreme beloved and eternal lover. Seek the love of that lover. Seek the bliss and beauty of that supreme Brahman. Only then and then you are going to be satisfied in a meaningful and true sense. Only then you will rejoice. You will become fully contented. That is called Moksha. That is called Parampurushartha. Because by knowing your true nature, you become that nature. You abide in that Brahmanhun, Atmanhun, and there you are in the fullness of the peace and wholeness of the bliss. By knowing the Brahman, you become Brahman, and only when you become Brahman, you enjoy, you rejoice the fullness of the peace and wholeness of the bliss. That fullness of the peace and wholeness of the bliss is intrinsic to Brahman, the Sacchidananda, the Atman alone. The rest are always appearing as mirages. They are roots of causes of sorrow and suffering, affliction and bondage. Therefore, I have revealed in this brief the entire secret, the supreme secret as to how to become Brahman, how to become the supreme reality, how to become eternal, immortal, by knowing the immortal, eternal, that is the Atman, the Chaitanya, the consciousness principle. By knowing the knower, by seeing the seer alone, you become Brahman. Nothing else is required to be done. Just change the direction of your journey from external to the internal, and there you abide in the bliss. You rejoice in the unbroken, uncaused bliss, absolute unconditioned love and beauty would be available to you. That is why it's called. For that alone, even the kings and queens and emperors of the physical universe renounce all the glories physical, because they know that it's all transient, and they go to enjoy that infinite bliss of the Atman and Brahman. Let me hope and pray that all of you who are seekers of the truth, who are seekers of the Brahman, who are seekers of the Atman in one or the other sense, realize this truth, realize your own nature, and become fully contented, become fully satisfied, become what you are always, become what is eternal, immortal, immutable reality. That is Brahman. Become that Brahman, become that Atman by knowing that Atman. I am repeating because in Vedanta, the Nidhidhyasana, thousands and millions of times you have to repeat it with long held wrong notion about your is so rigid that unless and until you hammer it time and again that I am not this body, I am the knower of the body, from the body consciousness to the consciousness of the self is the key and secret of Brahman realization, God realization, or enlightenment, or moksha, liberation you call. Let me hope and pray that vast majority of humanity becomes oriented toward seeking that supreme reality, the supreme glory. Then there would be Satyuga. Wherever there is significant number of people seeking that ultimate reality, that is the era of Satya, the truth. That is why it's called truth. When vast majority of the human race seeks that truth, the truth within, the truth eternal, the truth immutable, that era becomes the era of Satya Yuga, the era of truth. You create Satya Yuga, you create Kali Yuga. What is Kali Yuga? Kali Yuga is when vast majority of the humanity is living in the body consciousness, which is source of all sorrow, suffering, ignorance, sin, crime, hatred, jealousy. Therefore, change your life based on this body consciousness to a life based on consciousness of the consciousness of the self. That is liberation, that is the ultimate glory, that essentially unconsciously, even if when we are seeking the sensual pleasure, the worldly pleasures, even in that unconsciously we are seeking infinity, immortality. Do you, when you indulge in sensual pleasures, ever feel that, no, I should finish it, I should not get... You always want to enjoy unbroken sensual pleasures, but the sensual pleasures by nature are momentary, then you get frustrated. Therefore, that eternal bliss pleasure that you are trying to seek is available only and only in the unconditioned, absolute, eternal reality. The eternal bliss cannot be available in the ephemeral mortal world. The eternal and infinite bliss can be available only in the eternal and infinite reality. That reality is Brahman. That reality you are. That reality alone in the entire universe. Realize your true nature and become blessed. Enjoy the beatitude of your life. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham